Hey, what's up, Sumolings? It's me, Christy, with AppSumo. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Today, I'm joined by Christian and Kix from Accuranker. Guys, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. So if you guys aren't familiar with Accuranker, it's an SEO tool that's on AppSumo right now for $39. And honestly, it is blowing up. So many of you guys have already purchased this deal and are super happy with it. If you head on over to the deal page, you'll see all of the reviews and questions. But before we get into it, we already have people saying hello. Yay, you guys are here. I would love to know how many of you guys have already purchased this deal or how many of you are here today to learn more because you're on the fence. I always like to see what kind of audience we have. We have an audience from all over because what's up, Angelo from Australia? Yay. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Do we have any purchasers? You know what? My comments are frozen. Okay, looking to learn more. Bought it, got it, bought. Purchased, I have it on the fence. Yay! All right, so we have a little bit of both, guys. So just so you know, you're gonna have to wow some people and then teach others how to use it. So guys, if you've never watched one of our webinars before, here's how it's gonna work. Right now, you see all three of us, but in a second, I'm gonna shut my camera down and let these guys take over, and they're gonna take you through a demo and a walkthrough of Accuranker. Now, if at any point during the webinar you have a question for the team, go ahead and put it in the chat box, and Christian is going to be manning the chat box and answering your questions. I'll also come in at the end of the webinar and ask the most frequently asked questions or the most helpful questions, so that way you can keep your eyes on the demo and not necessarily on the chat box. But if you can't stay until the end of the webinar, that's okay, because I'll be sending out a replay of this video later, so that way you can catch up or go rewatch what you need further explanation on. So I think I've mentioned everything. Guys, why don't you make sure that you can share your screen, and then I will let you take it away.
All right. All right, so I hope everybody can see my screen now.
It's there. All right, I'm going to shut my camera down and enjoy, guys.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Christian, and I'm one of the customer success manager here at Accuranker. And today I will show you around the platform and show you all the available features and best practices on our platform.
Yeah, hello guys. As Christy said, my name is Christian, and I will also work here as customer success manager. I've been answering quite a lot of you guys' questions, and yeah, it's been quite overwhelming to follow everything so far. I'm very grateful for the feedback that we've gotten so far. But yeah, I'm gonna give it on to Kex, and I'm gonna stay here in the chat and answer any questions that you guys have. So yeah, take it away.
All right. So when you're starting to have an account, then you can start by adding your domain. So when you're adding the domain, you will have to say the domain name and also the display name that you want to be showed up. And also you will have to set up the country and the language that your domain should be tracked from. And also, in case if you would like to have a better overview, you can also assign your domains to certain groups, and that way have a better overview. Also, if you want to have the local rankings for your domains, then you can also add your Google business name. And if you want, you can also choose to show your share of voice in percentage. And then you also have the advanced settings. So after you added your domain, then you will have also the number of keywords, the average ranking that will be based on your top 500 rankings in Google search engine and on your top 100 rankings in Bing search engine. Then you also have the share of voice, which you can choose to see in absolute value or in percentage, and it is being calculated based on your first 20 rankings, the average click-through rate that is associated with them, and also the search volume. So just to give you an example, let's say that you have a keyword that is ranking on the first place and have an average click-through rate of 30% and a search volume of 1,000. So in that case, your share of voice is going to be 300. And if you choose to add your share of voice in percentage, then you can see that for all the keywords that you're tracking, how big share of the organic visibility you're getting for all the keywords that you're tracking. Then the next thing that you can see right here are these changes. So these changes are dependent on that what is the compare to date that you are setting up. You can set it up for different time periods, and that way see how did your performance have changed since the compare to date. The other thing that you can also see here is the ranking distribution that will tell you that how many of your keywords are in each of the ranking ranges, and when you're clicking on the range, then your keywords will be filtered accordingly. Then you also have the notifications. So notifications are something that you can add to your keywords by going to your domain, going to your keyword list, and then just simply star marking your keywords. So when you're star marking your keywords, then you will be notified in case if any significant change happens with them. Maybe they switch rank to the first page, the preferred URL changes, or anything that can significantly affect your traffic. These changes you will see right here in the bottom of the overview if you scroll all the way down. So after the dashboard, the next place where we're going to go is the overview. So you just have to simply click on the domain, and then you will get to the overview. So here in the overview, the first two things that you can do is to connect to Google Analytics. And if you're connecting to Google Analytics, you will see extra metrics in this overview based on your visitors, goals, and revenue, and also based on your organic traffic. And also you can get some extra metrics in the landing pages and the tech cloud. Later on, I will tell you a bit more about those. Then you also have the option to connect with your Google Search Console. So that will allow you to actually import your keywords from Google Search Console. So if you've already been tracking some keywords that you already know that you potentially could rank for, then you can just simply import them to Accuranker and you don't have to add them manually. Then the next thing that you will see is the share of voice for all of the keywords that you are tracking. This will be the visibility for all your keywords for each and every day, as your keywords are being refreshed every 24 hours. And if you're also adding your keywords for both desktop and mobile, then you can also see how does your visibility is different for each of the device types. Then if you're also adding competitors, then they will also be tracked for the same set of keywords that you have added. So when you're selecting them, then you will be able to see as how do they compare to you in terms of visibility for also the keywords that you want to rank for. Then you can see the overall desktop and overall mobile share of voice or visibility, and also how did it change since the compare to date. Then you also see the share of voice for competitors. So that way, when you're adding competitors, you will see that how big chunk or big share of the visibility they're owning for the keywords that you also would like to rank for. So that way you can have a better overview of your competition. Then you also have the share of voice for tags. So tags can be used to categorize your keywords. And when you're categorizing them, you can see how do each of your keyword categories are performing. So that way you can have a better overview if you're maybe tagging your product categories, service categories, or maybe content categories, as how do they perform in the search engines in terms of visibility. Then you also have the share of voice for landing pages to see that how much visibility each of the landing pages are getting that are ranking for your keywords. So that way you know where to focus your efforts and which of the landing pages are performing better or worse. Then you also have the top competitors. So top competitors are based on that which are the domains that are having the keywords that you have added in top ranking positions. And based on that, they will be associated with the weight score. And based on that, they will be ranked. So you can get to know you can just imagine the weight score as kind of like if one of the domains are having the keyword that you have added in the first rank, then they will be assigned a point of 10. And if they have that keyword in the rank of 10, then they will be assigned a weight score of 1. So that way, the more keyword you add, the clearer picture you can get as who are your top competitors. Also, when you're selecting each of the competitors, then you can see that how many keywords do they have in the top 10 rankings. As here you can see the number of keywords, here the top 10 rankings. And that way you can have a better overview of that who is actually owning the top 10 ranks for the keywords that you also would like to rank for. Then you also have the ranking distribution for each of the dates. So that way you can have a better overview of how did your keywords have performed over the time. And you also have the winners and losers as how many of your keywords have moved up and down in the rankings and how did they affected your overall share of voice. Then you also have the average ranking that will be based on your top 500 ranked keywords. And here you can also see the notifications. So the other thing that you can also do here that will affect all the other pages is to add filters. So by adding filters, you can create specific segment of keywords and that way have a better overview in case if you would like to keep a closer look for certain segments. Let's say that maybe you only want to see all the data for the keywords that are ranking less than 4, so the top 300. And then all the data that you will be seeing here will be related to the top 3 keywords that are ranking in the top 3 ranks. And if you're going to the keyword list, we had like 900 keywords, but now at this moment it will be only like 736 keywords. So that way you can set up multiple filters, maybe based on the rank, maybe based on keyword categories by setting up tags on locations or the search volume. So you can specify that what is more important for you, and you can always get back to these segments or even star mark them to see if any significant change happened with them. Then the next place where we can see more information is the keyword list. So in the keyword list, you will be able to see your keywords, and here you can add your keywords. So when you're adding your keywords, then you just have to add them to different rows. And then you can select the country and the language that they should be tracked from. And you can also select also smaller locations to be tracked from. Let's say that you want to track your keywords maybe in a specific state or a specific city or even a specific part of a city. So that way, in case if there would be some campaign that is really concentrated on certain locations, then you can also add that right here. Then you can select to add your keyword to either Google Desktop and altogether also for desktop and mobile, and also for Bing for desktop and mobile. And in case if you're adding already a keyword category, then you can also add the tag for it already. You can also ignore the local results and the feature snippets, so that way you can only see the pure organic results. Also, if you want, you can get suggestions in case if you would need more long tail keywords. Then you can also add that right here, and suggestions will also come up right here. So that way you can also add more long tail keywords. Then after you added your keywords and already tracked them for a while, then when you're clicking on the keyword, you will see the historical rankings for the keyword. So you can keep track of that. How did your keyword have developed over time, and also many other information regarding that. And when you're adding also competitors, you can also see how do they perform for the same keyword over time. Also, you can check the competitor ranks, where you can see who are the top competitors for the keywords that you're also tracking. Then you can also see the device type, the search engine, the location, also the rank, how did it change since the compare to date. And there can be also cases when you're showing up for multiple ranks with a certain keyword, so keyword cannibalization is happening. So in that case, this plus sign will show, and when you're clicking on the plus sign, you can also see with which ranks you're appearing with the keyword and with which landing pages, so that way you can take action. Also, in case if you're showing up for a certain search engine result page feature, like a review, that will also show up next to this plus sign. Then you also have the preferred URL. That will be the destination where Google is pointing at when it's looking for your keyword. But there can be also cases when you're ranking maybe with an irrelevant landing page for a very important keyword in a high ranking. So in these cases, you can just simply click on this dot and select the URL that you would like to rank for, and then just click on save, and this dot will either turn up as red or green. And if it turns up as green, that means that's the right URL that Google is pointing at. But if it turns up as red, that means that you have to do further SEO optimization work in order to rank for the selected page. So this feature will kind of serve you as like a self-checking tool. Then you can also see the search volume, and you can also see how was the search volume historically for the keyword that you select. And also you can see the share of voice, how did it change since the compare to date, and also what kind of search engine result page features were showing up for the keyword that you have added. So that way, in case if you would like to optimize for certain SERP features, you can also keep track of that, what is usually coming up. Then the next thing that you can also see is the live SERP results. So let's say that maybe you're tracking ranks for another location where you're located at, and that way you can just simply click on this magnifying glass, and that way you will see the live SERP results as what would people see when they would look for this specific keyword on that location which you just set up. Then you can also refresh any of your keywords one by one, anytime if you want, and all of them every 2 hours. And none of the extra refresh will cost you anything extra. Otherwise, they will be refreshed automatically every 24 hours. So then after the keywords, we can move on to the competitors. So at the competitors, you will be able to see your competitors' performance in terms of visibility for all the keywords that you're selected or for the set of keywords that you filtered for. So that way you will see that how much visibility they're getting also for the same set of keywords that you have added, how did their visibility have changed over time, how many of their keywords have moved up and down, and how many do they have in each of the ranking ranges. Also, when you're selecting them, you can see how their performance have changed compared to you in an ongoing basis. Then the next thing that you can also see are the competitor ranks. So at the competitor ranks, you can see for each individual keyword as how do your competitors are ranking, and you can also see the search volume next to it, so you know which are the more important keywords to rank high for. And also when you're clicking on the keyword, you can also see a simplified version of the historical ranks, so you can have a better overview of the historical ranks also for your competitors. Then the next thing that you can also see are the landing pages. So actually this is one of the places where you get the extra value out of integrating with Google Analytics, because you will see all the Accuranker data that is related to each of your landing pages, also how many keyword is ranking for a certain landing page. But in case if you're also connecting to Google Analytics, you will also see all the analytics data that is related to each of the landing pages. So that way you can also see the correlation between the visibility that you're getting and also the organic visitors. The other thing that you can also do here is when you're selecting the landing pages, you can also see how did they perform compared to one another on an ongoing basis. So in case if you're making some optimization work for certain landing pages, you will also see how did your actions have affected their performance. You can also see the same kind of information for in the tag cloud, just it will be based on the tags that you're adding to your keywords. So when you're adding text to your keywords, you can see how do each of your keyword categories are performing. And again, if you're connecting to Google Analytics, you will also see all the analytics data that is related also for each of the keyword categories. Furthermore, you can also compare each of the keyword categories' performance to one another. Then the next thing that you can do is to add notes. So when you're adding notes, it will be a tool to actually document your SEO actions and add annotations to your timelines. So when you're creating a note, you have to specify when did you make the change, what was the change that you made, and for which keywords you made the changes for. Also, in case if you're maybe making a change that could affect all the keywords, you have also the option to select that. And after that, when you added the note and saved it, it will show up on each of your timelines in the tech cloud, at the landing pages, at the competitors, and also in the overview. So that way you can also see like a better overview of that how did your changes have affected your performance in the long term. So that way you can have a better overview and have it documented also on our platform. Then the next thing that you can also do is to create reports. So you have 3 different options to create reports. The first, the fastest and easiest one is to just go to the keyword list, then click on download report. And if you're adding filters, that will also apply to the report. And here you will have to select the file type, the template. We have 4 built-in templates, but you can also create your own one, the language, and who should it be sent out to. And here you also have the option to create a public report that will be a shareable link with live metrics. But in case if you wouldn't need the report right away at this moment, then you can also create scheduled reports by going to the reporting tab. And here you can create also the template for yourself by going to report templates, create a new template, include all the things that you would like to have in it. Then just simply save the template, go to the scheduled reports, create a new scheduled report, just select the domain, and then you will also select the file type, the language, the template, and also how often should it be sent out, maybe daily, weekly, or monthly. And if you want, you can also add filters to the report, so that way you can have only a specific segment of keyword in the report. So this was the second way. And the last way is to use our integration with either Data Studio or Databox. And there's also plenty of other integrations that you can use next to Accuranker. Then, in case if you would have also any technical difficulties or you would experiencing some technical issues, then you can also check out our help center, where most of the features are well described with pictures and GIFs. So that way, in case if you're anytime feeling stuck, then you can just take a look at our help center and then find out how can you solve the problem. So I think that was mostly it. I think now we can get to the questions, as most of the things have been discussed.
Awesome. So Christian, you did a great job answering the questions in the chat box. I just pulled out a few that I thought might be helpful for people. And so let's start there. Let's see. So we had a question about the Spanish language. Do you want to talk about the different languages that are available with Accuranker?
Yes. So in terms of which languages and which countries we support, we pretty much support all countries and all languages where Google is present. So, for example, we don't really, I think Russia it's Yandex that they use, and China they use Baidu. We don't really support those countries, but otherwise, any other country we do support. And whenever you choose a search locale, so if you, for example, choose Spanish is obviously a country that we support. Pretty much any country and any language that is prevalent in Google, we also support. Awesome. And also there now that Herme, there was a question about keyword suggestions. Those are those should also be supported. We use something from a tool that Google offers in order to calculate these. So I'm 99% sure it works for Spain as well. I haven't actually tried, so yeah.
Okay, and so Quentin had a question about competitors, and he asked, are the competitors added automatically, or do we have to register them manually?
So there are two different ways of displaying or for tracking, two different ways we offer competitor tracking. The first one, if you can go to that one, Kex, is the top competitor section. Top competitors is calculated automatically from the keywords that you add into Accuranker. And how we calculate top competitors is that we say, for example, so top competitors is meant to show the most occurring domains for the keywords that you've added. So let's say that so based on this, we assign them a certain weight score. So let's say that a domain is ranked number 10 for a keyword. Then we'll give them a weight score of 1. If they're ranked number 9, we'll give them a weight score of 2, all the way down to rank number 1, which will give a weight score of 10. And what you can see here in the top competitors page is the domains that have the highest combined weight score overall. Now, you also have the option to add in competitors manually. So if you go to the competitor tab, Kex, you can also add the competitors directly from there. And what we have with AppSumo is that you can add up to 3 competitors per domain that you create. Now it's worth saying that it's per domain that you create. So if you have 20 domains that you want to track for, you can freely add free competitor domains to all of them.
Okay, great. And so actually that brings me to the next question. How many domains can they use Accuranker on?
So for the AppSumo promotion, we have up to 20 domains at once. Now it's worth saying that it's at once. So I understand that, for example, if you're running an agency and you might be tracking for, let's say you're tracking for 10 domains at once, and perhaps you lose a client and gain 2. Well, in that case, if you remove a domain from Accuranker and then add another 2 in, then the total tally will be 11. So it's 20 domains at once for the entire account.
Okay, so you can delete and then add new ones, is what you're saying?
Yes, exactly the same thing with keywords as well. If you delete a keyword from your Accuranker account, you'll be able to add it later on for another one. So yeah.
Okay, let's see. And how many keywords are tracked in this deal?
So for one code, you'll get up to 100 keywords. You can stack up to 5 codes at once to get up to 500 keywords. No matter how many codes you stack at once, it will always be one user and 20 domains at once that you'll be able to track for.
Okay, great. And so Michael, go ahead.
Oh yeah, just saw in the chat, or 100 keywords for all domains. So yeah, I mean, you choose yourself how you want to spread these keywords out. So you can have 100 keywords for one domain if you want, but you can also have 5 keywords for 20 domains. So that's up to you to control.
Okay, and so Michael is asking, what's the best strategy to work with that number of domain names, excuse me, of keywords? So for example, let's say you have 10 sites and you're going to do 10 keywords per site. Is there a strategy in choosing which keywords you want to track for each of those 10 domains?
I would kind of say that kind of depends on how you do SEO to begin with, and I'm not really an expert in those areas. What I will say is that if you're working with a lot of domains at once and your keyword tally is for example 100, so you don't have the luxury of adding many keywords to one, I would probably stick with just using the keywords for the Google search engine and for mobile. Because what we've seen now over the past few years is that mobile has overtaken desktop in terms of overall internet traffic. So that's probably the path that I would go. And that saves you up for adding as many different sort of keywords at once.
Okay, good. And so Derek had a question about alerts. He's asking, can you do alerts based on groups or tags?
Yeah, so what you would ideally do there is, so as Kex mentioned earlier, we have this notification system. So the notification system alerts you whenever a significant rank change has happened to your keywords. And the way that we calculate this is actually quite advanced. So for example, a keyword change from 60 to 50 is not counted as a notification, whereas a rank change from 2 to 1 is counted as a notification. Now, if you only want to receive notifications for a certain tag or a certain group of keywords, if you can, then you would have to go into the keywords list. So yeah, you can know if you can do that, Kex. Yeah, go into the keywords list and then try and filter for a certain tag, perhaps.
Oh, certain.
Yeah, yeah, just for any tag. So, for example, now we just have 3 keywords shown up, and yeah, but you can choose to mark them all on the left-hand side, and then you can click on edit and yeah, start mark them all from there.
Okay, so Rogerio is asking, if I have 100 keywords, can I delete them and add another 100? And if I delete those keywords, will their keyword rank history be saved?
So yeah, you're free to add and delete as many as often as you want. Obviously, that's yeah, there's not much we can do about that. But what you need to be aware of is that if you delete keywords, we'll also delete the history. So there's obviously some give and take there.
Okay. And is there a way, and they can export that information? For example, let's say they want to go in and delete keywords. They can export the information, then delete the keywords and add new keywords, yes. Correct? Great.
Absolutely. You can do that via CSV or Excel or any other options. Yeah.
Okay, good. And someone's asking, does competitor tracking count as keywords?
No. So if you have a domain with 100 keywords and you're tracking for 3 competitors, that doesn't count as 400 keywords.
Great. And Chris was asking, when codes are stacked, are the available users stacked as well? For example, if I buy 5 codes, can I assign up to 5 users to use the service?
No, we've limited the user count to 1 in total. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, guys, those are all the questions that I had. And so what I would love for you to do is let these guys know where they can reach out to you if they have any questions later today or after the webinar.
Yeah, so the easiest way to reach us is through the chat system built into Accuranker. yeah, that would pretty much be the easiest way. You can also send me a mail at, I can actually just send it in here, but at ksp@accuranker.com would also be a good way to reach me. I'm usually the support guy who works here, so 99% of the times I'll be the ones answering your guys' questions.
Awesome.
Just before we round up, I saw that there were some chats during the walkthrough. I hope it's okay if I take them up.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I can't remember who it was, but someone mentioned the fact that we count desktop and mobile as duplicate keywords, and that we do the same for locations as well. Now, the reason that we do this is completely on purpose, and it's not to be rude or anything about how we calculate keywords. It's simply because when the way that we count the keywords, my headset just told me that it's low on battery. But the way that we count the keywords is that every time we have to send a request to Google or Bing, that will count as a keyword. So yeah, even though it's the same keyword, let's say that you add the term keyword, if you're tracking it for 2 different locations, we will have to send two different requests for these 2 different locations in order to get the most accurate results. So if you're not working with a lot of, if you have a lot of keywords, but you don't have the luxury of adding all of them into Accuranker at once, try and limit your locations. So as Kex mentioned before, we can track for addresses, zip codes, states, whatever. We can track for all of that at once. We also try and limit it to perhaps Google Desktop or mobile is also something that's very recommended.
Awesome, good. Were there any other questions that you wanted to tackle?
Yeah, there was actually someone who asked in about the green and red dots. So that was in the URL column. So in terms of, so this is something in relation to a feature that we call preferred URL. So let's say that you're a web shop and you sell green shoes and you add in the keyword green shoes, but you can see that the URL or the landing page that is ranking for green shoes is your landing page about blue shoes. Now, this is obviously not optimal. A customer who comes in searching for green shoes and comes into your landing page about blue shoes, he'll quickly move away, and it's another very relevant result. So what you would do in this instance is copy-paste your landing page about your green shoes into that keyword, and with preferred URL, we'll be able to tell you whenever that landing page is ranked the highest or not. So green indicates that the preferred URL is ranked the highest. Red indicates the other way around.
Awesome, good. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
And guys, I would recommend Sumo-Lings, head on over to the deal page, because there is a good chance if you have a question that somebody has already asked it on the deal page and that it's been answered. So that's always a really great point of reference for your questions too, because these guys are getting a lot of requests from you. Like I said, the deal is doing really well on AppSumo, and a lot of you guys are excited about it and have lots of recommendations and suggestions. So these guys have been probably up all night answering the Sumo-Link questions. So do me a favor, check the deal page first.
Wrong.
Yeah, check the deal page first, and if it's still not answered, then reach out to them. As I mentioned, I'm going to be sending out a replay of this later today. So guys, if you have nothing else, I guess we can end it here, and everyone can just watch the replay.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds good. Perhaps there might have been some questions that I missed, and yeah, as Christy said, please send them to me in the chat, and yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.